Hi, I'm Susan Brownrigg and I'm a time tunneler. I love going to the seaside. I don't know about you. I love going to Blackpool in particular, but I also live very close to Southport and I do take trips up to Morecambe as well, which is a bit further up the coast. And they all have something in common, and I wonder if you know what it is. Well, they all have or had a winter garden. Do you know what that is? Well, a winter garden is an entertainment venue or entertainment complex, a big building, quite often made out of glass, where you can shelter from the cold and the wind and the rain if you're at the seaside and it's not a particularly sunny, nice day. Now, winter gardens actually began at Southport, and I have an object here from my little collection of souvenirs from the seaside from years gone by, showing what it looked like. So it was built 150 years ago. It actually opened in September 1874, and it was built on land between the promenade, the beachside, and Lord Street, which is a very famous shopping street. It was said to inspire the Champs-Élysées in Paris. Now, the winter gardens here sadly no longer exist, but they were inspired, as were other winter gardens, by this place. Here, I've got another object to show you. Not the seaside. This is in London. This is a little souvenir from the Great Exhibition of 1851 at Crystal Palace. And this was a fantastic building. It was made out of iron and glass. I'll just show you. I've got a book here all about it. See, so it's got all this beautiful iron and glass work here. And it was so popular, in fact, that they actually moved it north of the river and kept the building. So this tells you that it's the Southport Pavilion Winter Gardens and Aquarium, because this building had an aquarium as well. So in the basement there was vaulted ceilings and tanks for over 20 tanks for fish, and one particularly large tank that held larger fish and sharks. And there was also pools for seals and crocodiles. Now, this one was the first, then followed Bournemouth and then Torquay. And the interesting thing about Torquay is while the Southport and Bournemouth winter gardens were demolished in the 1930s, sadly, the one at Torquay was taken apart, put into pieces, loaded onto a barge, and then transported around the coast to Great Yarmouth, where it still stands today. And the one in Great Yarmouth, although sadly it's closed, I think it was back in 2008 that it closed, it's now got heritage lottery money, so it can be reopened and made as a celebration of seaside history. So the postcard here actually is quite interesting. This shows you the winter gardens in Southport. So apparently originally it had a roller skating rink as well. It had a boating lake later. It had its own opera house designed by the famous theatre designer Frank Matcham, and later on was used, and part of it at the end, I think, I'm not sure which end, as a cinema. So it went through lots of changes over time. Like I say, sadly demolished in the 1930s. Now a supermarket car park, not very pretty. So my book, Gracie Furshaw and the Missing Reel, is partly set in Blackpool Winter Gardens. You can see them on the cover here, designed and illustrated by Jenny Shavonka. And they are still there today. You can go and visit, and there's lots of fantastic rooms to explore. And originally, when the Winter Gardens was quite new, they came up with something to try to rival Blackpool Tower as an attraction. So as well as having its own fernery and ballroom and a little pavilion theatre, and later things like an opera house, they constructed this, a big wheel. And you could see similar ones in Earl's Court at London, in Paris and Vienna, and only the Vienna one still exists. And the idea was you would go into these carriages and you would get a fantastic view of Blackpool. Now, The Winter Gardens at Blackpool also had, as I said, an opera house, and it was designed by Frank Matcham, the theatre designer who also designed the one at Southport. And it had, in the 1930s, a real transformation thanks to a man called Andrew Matsai. So he came in and gave it an Art Deco makeover, and you can find out more about that if you read the blog that accompanies this video. So for this week's writing challenge, I would like you to design your own winter gardens. What will it have inside? Will it have some of those Victorian attractions like an aquarium and a promenade and a roller skating rink? Or have you got some modern ideas that would bring in the visitors? You can draw a plan of your winter gardens on paper, and maybe once you've got that plan, you would like to use it to create a story, an adventure of your own, which is a bit like I did for my book. I looked at plans of the winter gardens at Blackpool and worked out where my characters would go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this week's video. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.